Hey, welcome back. That was a quick lunch break.
Yeah.
Chris Garlock here with Michael Redmond for round 2 of the DC Fall Open. I guess they're taking lunch break after round 2. So if you hear rumblings, it's either our tummies growling or possibly thunder outside.
Sure. That could happen.
Could happen. Both could happen. Anyway, we're very happy to be back, and we have one new player and one returning player. Yuan Zhou, who was in our last round, is back, and Jonathan Hop. I think a lot of folks are going to know him. He's a YouTube content creator from Detroit. Came all the way in from Detroit, and I got to tell you, Michael. Michael, by the way, of course, is here all the way from Japan.
Yes.
For a few days to help us launch this new broadcast center and do a little teaching and commenting here in DC. But Johnny came all the way from Detroit, not as far as Japan, but you know.
That's a ways.
It's a ways.
Yeah.
It's a ways. It's not just jump in the car. But here's what I think is, I think that these DC tournaments, which are held regularly, are going to become even more popular as folks see them on Twitch and, on, of course, our AGA YouTube channel as well. So, God forbid we outgrow this place, because I don't want to have to rebuild this studio again. But it's exciting. It's exciting. If we have too many people at the tournaments, that's a problem we can deal with, I think. So anyway, so let's. Are we ready to, Jeff? Are we ready to, Nathan? Are we ready to jump into the player room for a sec? Let's take a look. There's our players. Yuan, of course, on the right, looking intense as usual, and Johnny Hop on the left, looking also very focused. Now, I don't know a lot about Johnny's playing style, so I've got Nathan Epstein that's going to do a little bit of research for me and try, or somebody's going to try and find something out for me about Johnny, so I can say something intelligent. If I had my things together, I would have talked to him during the break. But actually, the last one, we came out of the last round, and we were told that the second round had started for everybody except board 1. So Gurujeet's really pushing things along here. Is that right?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. All right. So you're probably ready to go. They have played. They played a good 30 moves. So yeah, let's
more like 50 moves, I guess.
50 moves. All right.
And it looks like it started with star points.
Star points, yes.
And that's pretty. After all the AIs, this has become pretty popular.
And I think is it Gary Smith who's doing the game recording this time? Gary Smith. Another one of the hardcore National Go Center team here. He's our treasurer, I believe. Is that correct? He's something like that.
And so did black play Kakari? Yeah. And maybe white pincered? Yeah. So that makes sense. So black played this Murray. This is actually was a popular opening even before AIs. And it is different from what AIs would play, because black is playing a 3-4 point and a Sumari here. And so it's more like, I guess, what was being played in the years before that. Did white pincer?
Yep. Whoa, this is like all like normal stuff.
It's pretty normal. And again, white didn't jump into the 3-3 point, so it's looking like a human game before the AIs came. So,
yeah. I'm having a flashback. Pre-AlphaGo flashback.
And so, yeah.
What's the right timing on this?
Well, I might have started with this side. Yeah, that would have been normal. But playing here looks like it's a feasible move.
And just a reminder, of course, to our viewers on Twitch, got the stream right here. Jump in with your questions anytime. Yes.
So this is a Joseki. It's been around for a long time too. It's still popular in this post-AI.
Oh, wait, there's something that got exchanged here.
White cut once? That's just bad. But it was played.
is
It's
that-
played in the variation where black doesn't have the pincer and peeps immediately.
So here's an interesting thing. Yuan, I assume Yuan is. No, Yuan is black.
He's black.
Oh, sorry. Time settings. Thanks for reminding. 45 minutes for the basic time and 30 seconds, 5 periods. And this is, by the way, standard for a four-round, one-day tournament. It's because we need to get all of the rounds in. Makes for the good thing is one and done. We have one tournament today. The other model is a 5-round tournament, usually 3 rounds on the first day and 2 rounds on the second day. I kind of like the 4-rounder. We'll see what I say at the end of the day today. And we're going to have to peel poor Nathan off the floor. Jeff, were you here until 4 o'clock in the morning, and did you go home at a reasonable hour? You can talk. Oh my God, you guys are crazy.
Nate was here later than me.
I know. I got a text from like 4 o'clock in the morning.
He's been working real hard on this whole thing.
Okay. Yeah. Wow.
Okay, so that's our timing, and I'm going to predict again, like I did last time, that Yuan is going to be in time trouble, and I think it cost him the game last time, and I don't know. Hopefully not this time, but I'm just
Maybe not.
gonna say. All right, so this was not Yuan, because Yuan made a move early that you were not really crazy about, and it looked a little bit like this kind of early move. But
That was a different game, right?
it was a different game,
Yeah.
yeah. But this is not Yuan's move. This is Johnny's move. This
Well, you
cut.
might remember this peep here
Yeah.
from the game that KJ played AlphaGo. Was it about a year ago? I forget. I'm losing my track of time,
It
actually.
was last year.
Yeah.
I remember because I couldn't make that because anyway.
And this variation, when white refuses to connect, it is common to have this cut played at some point. In order to help white counter moves like this with moves like this, which give white an extra forcing move here, and allow white to play the extension here, to make a squeeze. So this is a variation that has been seen, and it was seen something like that
So it's
was
not
in the
completely-
KJ game. But it's something that you do when black has played this peep on the second line without any supporting stones. So when black already has the pincer stone here and plays the peep from a very secure position, it's not good for white to play the cut. So this was just a mistake.
So Johnny is I'm told, is a content creator. I know that he and Jeff, one of the reasons that Jeff was here so late last night was that they were making a video. Maybe we can find out from Jeff more about that, but that will be out
I'm gonna start editing it next week.
next week.
Or I mean Monday, probably.
Okay. How about the commentary that Michael did last night? Because we want to get that up on YouTube.
Well, that's the first thing I do. That's
Okay.
easy enough to get.
We were thinking, by the way, and this is for folks out there. This is going to be another in our series, the ongoing series. Hopefully, you've watched them all. The AlphaGo commentaries. We think it's like probably 2.5 hours total that we did last night. We're thinking it's going to have to be a two-parter.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to release that as one whole long thing. I
Yeah.
wouldn't sit there and watch it
It'd
for
be too
2.5
long, yeah.
hours. Some of our hardcore fans might, but brunch tomorrow. But why are you going to be talking about food? We're hungry here.
Yeah.
11 o'clock. It may be the next time we eat. 11 o'clock tomorrow. If you're in the DC area, come by. Michael will be. We need to make sure you eat before. That's our
Okay.
thing. All right. But Michael will be looking at game records. The deal is, it's not like just you and Michael. It's going to be in front of everybody. So, yeah, just saying. Everybody's going to get to see your great moves or
Mistakes sometimes.
possibly moves like this.
Right.
Which we'll
Well,
have to talk with Johnny about.
Right, yeah.
All right, let's get back to the game, shall we?
Yeah. Show
Okay.
me some more
I'll
moves.
show you some more moves.
I'm pretty sure what I'm supposed to.
Yeah, the
do.
rest of it was.
I think I know what happened, but yeah, I just wanted to check.
There's your move.
And so this is good. I think in this position with black, I would want to extend here though,
One more
because
time.
the potential connection there is really important. And white might answer on this side, but black could just connect underneath
Yeah, that's
it.
nice.
And that would be nice. There would be a potential attack on this black group, but actually white is not so strong either. And so black can handle this with no problem. On the other hand, if white covers on this side, then black can push through once and then connect underneath with the extra value of the cut. So when white was allowed to cover here, this improved white's position very much, because white does have a fixed position and white has the potential cut here later. And so white is not quite as weak as white would have been if black had extended there. So I suppose black jumped.
You like the peep first, make white.
Well,
a
the
little
peep is
heavy.
never going to be forcing. I just wanted to play that because I saw that it was played in the game. I missed the timing there. So white played an attachment. And again, this would be happening anyway. But this exchange that where white is thrown in here and allowed black to capture one stone, it makes a one eye it's giving black an extra eye basically.
I see.
So that's really bad. And it has a loss of territory implied also. So black peep. White will probably just not. White cannot afford to connect to this peep, so white pushes through.
I should descend.
He descended first. Well,
that takes away the Atari.
it takes away when black is peeped and white's going to push. It's probably I wouldn't say it doesn't matter, but it's sort of, in a way, it's forced. White in order to avoid the possibility of black playing a hane and then getting the cut to sente. So there's logic to white wanting to play it now, although arguably white could have waited. When black plays the hane, then there's a completely different trade that could happen with white cutting first, covering, allowing the cut, but getting a capture here in return, which would be another way that white could have played. And so this is maybe the way I would have handled it. But playing the Sarari and getting rid of that potential is another way that white can handle it. So it's just, you could say it's just a matter of taste. It's hard to say which is correct.
Okay.
So white pushes
It's
out.
not a mistake like the other one.
It's not a mistake like throwing in here.
No, I think we're missing a. There you go. You didn't want to have that.
I took it off because it was a bad move.
It just offends you.
Yeah. And so white's pushing through here. We can see the black group is getting weak now.
Yeah.
So the game continues. What happened next? Black jumped and
jump.
black jumps.
Yeah.
And white plays the honey here. Locally, this is a good move.
And it switches back.
And yeah, black needed to play this one. Probably not very good, but white just connected. So it's
a little early for that, isn't it?
So what black was trying to do was, if white had played on this side, then black would have been able to do something like this to
Threatening the wedge,
and then push through here, which would be a great success for black. However, when white answers on this side, black cannot really come through here because the outside black is so weak. Even if white plays here and makes a bamboo joint, there would be nothing good happening for black. In fact, white could have answered this move directly with the bamboo joint shape by playing here. And then it would have been almost a wasted move. But even in this variation where white plays here, black peeps here, and white connects. This peep from inside is not really working for black because it's not reducing white's eye space. And white actually has two eyes. So this white group can be treated as a living group now. And so black will...
But would you just be happy not to see those played at this point?
Well, black might be worried about thinness here.
Sure.
So it's feasible that black might at some point want to play this peep here. But there's no reason to have this stone on the board.
Right.
It's just negative. It's bad.
Wow. So already at this point, we already have two
mistakes that are obviously mistakes, but they lose 1 or 2 points each. So it's not as if there's this big difference in the flow of play. They're not going to affect what happens so greatly.
Partly what you're seeing there, though, I mean, Jonathan's a 4 dan, Yuan's a 7 dan, and so this is.
Well, they both made mistakes. One of the mistakes was made by white, one was by black.
Oh, right, that's right.
Yeah. So white played here, and black peeped. And I think we've caught up with the game now. Black would like to play another move in this vicinity. That would make a very nice position for black on that side. Let's see, that would be something like 35, 40 points. If we imagine a boundary, we haven't really established that boundary, but if we imagine that these two stones sort of connect in a diagonal line, that's close to 40 points. Yeah. Or if we go directly down from this hanging connection and make a territory like this, then it's more like 40 points. So it's where you draw the imaginary boundary line, because as it is, there's still some potential for white to be coming in a certain degree. So that's a lot of territory. And then black has this corner, that's a good 10 points. And this is about Komi. So black has about 50 points of territory, whereas white has really nothing to speak of. But there is this very weak group in the center of the board there. And so white's strategy is going to be to see how white can harass this weak black group.
Well, harass it with an eye towards making,
Well, making profit and territory too.
Yeah.
So there's this peep here, which will be answered by a connection. And then something like this would be one way to attack from this side. Something like this would be a way to attack from the center.
But where's the profit for white in that?
Well, white, there's this weak black stone here in the lower left. If white handles it correctly, white might be able to capture that stone, which would make something close to 30 points in this direct area. And white does have little pieces of territory attached to these living groups.
Sure.
So that would make the game fairly close.
That's a with this kind of a game here, though. That's a kind of a long strategy.
And going back to this position, white would have liked to do the double hunting.
I wanted to ask you about that, because it just feels...
And the question is, what happens when black counterattacks? And this would have been sort of interesting. White does have the peep here, which would allow white to jump here. And it looks like white can make a living shape.
Okay.
And so I would have done that, actually, because the peep here for black, at the moment that white does this, it's probably not even forcing. White could just protect the center. And the potential gain here on this side of the board is so huge that it's much, much better for white. So white should have done that and sort of played a very conservative move here, which allowed black to gain Sente. It looks like black actually extended. And white jumped in here and black played here. But this fight is still going fairly well for black because black has a connected shape here and white plays here. But white's going to have a hard time saving this group because black can play here. Even if black just plays very simply like this, black has a choice here. Black can play the wedge here and try to handle that with Sente, leaving the cutting point. And if white answers that, then black can play down here. This is just dead.
It's just not going anywhere.
So that's one way black can do it.
That's making me hungry.
Oh.
Eat the stones.
Yeah, I ate the stones.
We need to get like some mints, and so when we need snacks, we could just like.
And then the more greedy way of playing would be to play here. I'm not going to answer your questions.
You're just not even totally ignoring.
This would be more dangerous,
though, right? This is fine.
This is what black would play if black thought that just wedging here and taking these 4 stones is not good enough. So this would be an attempt to capture everything.
Yeah.
So it's not a question of direction, really. And so we see, I think the game is progressing in this direction. It's a very dangerous fight for white, and black has options. So it's looking difficult for white locally at this point. Eventually, black will have to deal with this weak group in the center of the board on the right side.
Right.
And white doesn't have any worries in that direction. This group in the center for white, it's not alive yet, but it's going to be very difficult for black to attack that.
Let me just check with Jeff Fitzgerald, who did the video with Jonathan. Do you know anything about Jonathan? Has he got? I mean, I'm seeing a real fighting style here. Would you say that's?
I'm not too familiar with his style. I mean, I think he mentioned as we were having our game that he loves to kill large groups. You know, that's about all I know about his playing style. His teaching style, he's one of the best, I think.
Yeah, he's got a lot of fans.
He was, I think, the first channel that I watched and saw and actually felt like I could grasp what he was saying, and the way he was presenting the information was really conducive to learning for a newbie. So that's what we try to continue with the video we did yesterday.
Excellent.
Very good.
I don't know. know though. It's
a dangerous fight, and you see black is going to try to kill the whole thing. This is more dangerous for black because when white does escape, white has a choice of sliding here, or the good Suji move would be to attach and cut. But this is still a very dangerous fight for white. But if white can manage to squeeze out, then white will now have saved the whole group, and then there's potential counterattack against black.
Oh, we have a little bit more information from. I'm going to try and say folks' handles, but that may mean that I mangle them. It's Soren Go at XC. Okay. Somebody go check the US Go for our the Open, because I'm being told from that they think Johnny won either 6-0 or 5-1 at the Congress. And we can just check that. That's online. If you go to the cross tabs. So this is going for the whole.
Black is going for the whole group.
Yeah.
Well, for instance, let's just slap some stones on the board to see what might actually happen. In this case, black would probably let's have black pull back, but that's a solid one. White plays here. Black would probably want to extend. White plays a hanging connection. And white can make one either, but we'll now have trouble making a second eye in this side. So it would lead to a fight sort of like this, where white escapes with these cutting stones, and is going to try to take one of them. So this is like the style indicated, where he likes to take big groups. And this would be sort of
good information from. Good. Yeah. That's why we have our team, our correct team here.
Otherwise, white could slide here, and this is
that's what I would.
This is an attempt to slide out, or maybe to sacrifice the white group on a smaller scale. But like if black plays a solid move like this, for instance, stuff like this, then maybe white's going to be able to escape on the second line. If we have something like there's a cut here that black has to deal with, so white can manage to squeeze out just barely. It's not really looking like white's going to get any chances to attack black.
The second line.
It's really painful. It's really painful. Well, it's better than dying. And so this is one solution to the problem, but this is the one that's going to be really exciting if white plays this way. White played the honey underneath. That works to a certain degree also. But you have to be worried about black cutting here.
I'm worried.
And then black has choices, like black could even capture the one stone, and the cut here is not going to make eye space for white.
Ow. It's just.
It looks well. It's going to be a fight to capture when this happens. But my instinct says that this looks okay for black when black plays. Black actually could play here, and so that would be pretty devastating. And so this isn't really working for white. And so there's that problem. There's also the fact that black could cut and then cut here, white connects. Black also has the move, the extending move, which is more safer. It's safer. Maybe not going to kill white.
Oh, I just thought of something. So, yeah, along your thoughts there, and as we were talking about earlier, right? If white has no territory.
White has no territory.
And so black can just kind of easily disrupt all of this. It's going to be really.
Yeah, that's
letting
even if
white live actually.
If we assume white can live somehow. That's very doubtful, actually, but even if we assume
that's what I'm saying. I mean, sort of setting that aside for the moment locally.
And the value of this is that although there's a cutting point here, it's not a problem now because black can just push from the outside.
Right.
And it's the same squeeze that we were seeing before, only black is one move ahead. And so black gets to squeeze here, and this is going to be, it's going to be either a ladder, maybe not a ladder with this stump, but it's going to be a net.
A geta.
A geta.
Geta.
Yeah, that's a geta.
Yeah.
So that's working for, it works for black. Oh, a few more moves maybe. Looks like maybe white's going to squeeze out. Sort of a fake Tessuji here. But it doesn't work. Black wins it. Not quite. So it's not working. So there's this is a real problem that white has here.
So,
but black did this one. Now this is the more dangerous move for black. As we saw, it leads to a fight to capture. But this would have won the game. But this is still trying to.
I like this move a lot. Yeah. This is a very. I like this move because what it says is, first of all, it's going to be hard for you to live anyway.
Yeah.
Secondly, even if you live,
black's going to win anyway. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
This feels like a very AlphaGo-ish move.
It's a very safe move, and you can't go wrong unless you make a number of mistakes later. I think black is still going to win, but there's going to be a moment of danger here. It's going to be more dangerous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These guys live for danger.
Well, yeah. It's more fun for us.
It's more fun for us.
Yeah.
So
maybe we'll get to go to lunch early.
Well, I was just thinking that. I didn't want to say anything. I didn't want to get your hopes up. But I was just thinking if there's a big death, then too bad for them. But we get to go to lunch early. So
too bad for one of them at least. Yeah.
Hey, did we track down Brother Hop's? Thank you. God.
5-1
5-1 for Hop. Who did he lose to? Or more to the point, who did he beat? All right. All right. So Johnny has got some cred there.
Mm-hmm. And capturing this one stone on the side, black does have eye space. So like if white does something like this and extends here, black still has room to live on the side with this move. So black's alive.
And then white's just.
And in this case, the center group is in pretty good shape too.
Yeah. There's no problem at all.
Yeah.
Get this out of your way. Just tell us what to move, Jeff. Tell us what to move. All right. So Soren Go at ATXC. That's probably a better way to say that, but you are correct, Jonathan. Johnny was 5-1. We're tracking down more on the results there, but that's a very nice record because that's a tough band. Actually, that's a very tough band. Mm-hmm. I guess is that probably means he wound up playing some of the six tones, possibly, depending on how many were there.
Sure, that's pretty good.
That's not anybody that. Yeah, that's not somebody I know. Okay. All right. Cool.
Don't know the name. Yeah. So it still looks very dangerous for white. A lot of trouble here.
I just think I figured out who Soren is. All right. Is this? Did it actually?
I think
out?
They've gotten this far.
They play.
Could you show me some more?
They keep copying what you tell them to do.
Yeah, exactly.
I will tell you that when we were setting up the studio, so just so folks know, so we were here at the National Go Center, Washington D.C., Tenleytown, Wisconsin Avenue. Come by; it's a great place. Got a great library, lots of Go playing happening. But we're in this room. I don't even think anybody knows we're here because I think it used to be like a big supply closet or something. But the playing room, if you can sort of switch over to show the players for a sec, they're across a little hall. And so in order for us to be in here and not suffocate, which as you were pointing out about the group dying, that would be like bad for our commentary. We need to be able to breathe. So they put in they gave us some air, basically.
A fan, yeah.
Yeah, but they also had to put in a place for the air to go out.
Yeah, into their playing room, right?
Not the playing room, but into the hall. And so what folks were worried about was that,
they'd hear
the player would hear. Well,
Yeah,
they're not worried about them hearing me, because people should not listen to me, but they were worried about people hearing what you were talking about. So we literally had to be in here talking and have somebody in the playing room to make sure that the players couldn't hear what we're saying. The only thing you can hear is like a mumble. So.
Okay.
So not to worry. You can say whatever you want.
Oh, yeah, I do.
All right. So more information probably than you wanted to know, but there it is.
He just covered. Black is sort of playing it safe here, but there's no reason that this is bad either. White doesn't really have room to make two eyes anyway.
So Johnny said he likes to kill groups. Did he say that he likes to die big too?
I don't think.
Sort of
I don't think you can find many people like that. Yeah, that's pretty unusual.
Sorry, that was mean.
Yeah,
that was mean. I
That's
shouldn't have said that.
So White plays here. This doesn't really improve White's position. It looks like White might be making an eye there.
Yeah,
but like making one eye is not going to be good enough.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's not good enough. Not in this game.
Sorry.
And you see again, Black still has the peep here to capture those two cutting stones.
Okay, so can you find a way for White to live?
No.
You didn't even know I was going to ask that. It's just,
well, what other question would you ask?
That's true. So, okay, let me ask another one. So this was a bad idea for White to pull these out.
Yeah, it was bad. It would have been different, you see, if White had played the attachment and then cut on the top. Because let's go back.
Can we go back? Yeah. In fact, if you don't mind, could we just go back, because I think this is an important point for all like me. You know, I'm a Don player, but I think running down here, right? We have these, and I'm sure that the idea was to sacrifice these.
No.
Well, then how do you let Black build up this big wall here?
Okay, so Black extended here. So this is already, as I said, White should have done the double honey. And White would have been able to handle that problem on the upper side, is what I think. But in the game, this is what happened. Black already has this nice wall. And cutting here is one idea.
Okay.
But if White cuts there, Black pretends to chase the ladder. And then Black escapes like this. And White ends up with a shape that doesn't have very many extra liberties. It's a bit. It's so
ugly.
It's a bit ugly, and so it's going to be difficult for White to proceed from here. So that's why White did not cut. Actually, cutting would have been, even that cramped position would have been better than the game. So this was a kind of a peep.
Just hear me out.
Yeah.
Why not something? I mean, I just don't want to run these in any way.
Well, if you play here, then everything is solved by this move. So it's old Black's territory. But there's an idea of playing here, and then running away, and allowing Black to surround.
There it is. Yeah. Okay, that's what I was in my fumbling way trying to get to. That.
So that's about 30 points for Black.
Right, but at least White has got, and White comes out.
So Black has close to 50 points, and White has some extra points here, and maybe an attack in that. But of course, the extension here is really working well to reduce that. So it's probably good for Black
this looks
anyway.
Playable
though. Once White's lost this double honey, missed the chance to split, it's going to be difficult anyway.
Yeah.
So he probably sort of realized that and wanted to just be a bit more aggressive. But at this point, although it looks dangerous, it's not hopeless for White yet.
Okay.
So
I'm feeling pretty hopeless.
So if White plays here, my second point here is that when White came underneath here, Black had the timing to play this move. If White cuts here, Black will not have time to play this artillery underneath. And this is really important because even when, as you saw, even when White captures that Black stone, it's very difficult for White to change that into a living shape. So if White cuts here, if Black plays the Atari, and then White can switch to the upper side. And this is suddenly a very different story because White can play this with forcing.
Nice.
And then can escape out to the center. And Black has to worry about the Black group on all sides. Well, Black has the peep here, but has to worry about this. Has to worry about White cutting off Black's group in the center.
That's a great sequence.
This would actually be a loss for Black. So that's why in my first commentary I was having Black pulling back here. So I was sort of split between this move, which is the safe move, or playing a bit more aggressively like this, which would be more dangerous. So Black has a choice here with something like this. And White would then be doing this. And again, when this happens, this is very similar to the variation I was showing before.
Right.
Maybe about 10 extra points for black, but a little bit better shape for white too.
I like this too.
The 10 points in here, they're probably pretty big actually, but
Sure.
but white does get a very strong shape here, so it's still playable, comparable to the other variation where white just dodged away and allowed black to capture on this smaller scale.
That's my instinct is to treat the tail a bit lightly with trying to, just based on your counting.
Well, locally that's the correct way to play
Okay.
it, but I think at this point white realized that white had
It's too
already
far
messed
beyond.
up a little bit.
Yeah.
It's maybe not too far. There's a question there for you.
There is a question that I sort of have an answer, partial answer to. This is a question. It's a really good question about how many years since the AGA announced a new pro. The problem has been that when we do a pro, is we have a pro tournament, and so the implied question is when the last one was, which was usually in January. It's been a couple of years, so it's been a few years, and I need to talk with Andy Oken, our president, and find out the answer to that. So I would say, actually, here's what I suggest. If somebody can send me an email, journal@usgo.org, and ask that question, first of all, we'll run it as a letter to the editor, because it's a good question, and it will remind me to ask President Oken about that, because I had a chat with him at the Go Congress about it, and it wasn't clear at that point. So it's a really good question. But it's great having all of the U.S. pros at the Open and popping up at various tournaments. And exciting for you too, right?
Yeah,
'Cause
sure.
a lot of those folks came up through the Redmond
Redmond Cup, yeah, they're
named after you.
they're named after me. Yeah, so it's like some distant relatives, you know.
Well, you know, the fun thing about the Redmond Cup is that when you, I think they win when you win 5. I think then you're the Redmond Meijin,
Yeah. Mhm.
and they just retire you and you don't get to play anymore. So,
Okay, so
what's
black
happening
is
here?
trying to decide whether to play this move or not, and so black has the option of not playing that. Black could peep here immediately. That might be better actually.
Well, this is where people's life and death reading comes in.
It's
But I
pretty
mean,
tricky.
it's-
Like it's actually. You
It's
asked
just-
if I
it's-
could find a way for white to live.
I did ask.
And now maybe I have an answer to that. So
you had an answer before.
well, I'll try it with this one. So this is the most tenacious move that white can find. Oh, but yeah, okay. So black has solved that problem. Is about to solve that problem by playing the peep.
Oh no, I want to go back to
But
your
in
moves,
this position, I have a way for white to live because white can. If black protects on the outside, then white can make an eye here.
Oh, isn't
So that is
that clever?
If black plays on this side, now white can cut black off, and this is dangerous for black too. And the problem, there's another way that black can try to kill white. Let's go it one way at a time. So now let's say black peeped here. Now, actually, these 2 stones are captured already, but white can play an Atari here. Black can push through and capture these 2 stones. But lo and behold, white's alive. 2 eyes. 2 eyes is good. You follow
Two eyes.
me, right?
No, I do. I
Yeah.
just see you sort of magically conjured that out of thin air.
So that explains this
You just
move,
conjured me some
where
lunch.
black has reduced this to a 1-eye shape. And now black he's taking his time, but this move sort of indicates that he's found the peep here. And so he has a reason to play this, because now when white plays here, black can push through. And he's going to capture the 2 stones, and this is not going to transform into an eye.
Oh dear. Oh, so white.
And if white connects...
Where was white's mistake?
White didn't make a mistake. It was dead already. So if white plays here, it would be a mistake for black to cut here because that would complicate things.
There you
Well,
go.
this would work too, I guess. Black could just take the 2 stones and then live in the corner. And it's still a win for black. Something like that. But it's more complicated. This is a position where maybe I could trick you into saving.
Oh, you
the-
could so trick me.
Yeah.
That was
So
what I was
it's a
left.
lot more complicated, but it's actually a lot simpler for black just to pull back here and allow white to play this, and there's no problem in the corner, so black can add a stone on the outside. And even if white gets one hane here, black will know have
I'm
no problem.
thinking.
with
I'm
that.
thinking that I'm not the only. I think Yuan is thinking about lunch too.
Yeah, could be.
Yeah, that's what.
Well, he's taking his time. Oh, he did. Did he peep? He did peep. Very good.
Yeah, he did. He did.
Very good. Very good. So that's the correct move. And white's still in trouble. White. There's no way for white to wriggle out of this.
No, Yuan's thinking about what he's going to order for lunch. He's already.
When you start thinking like that's dangerous because you lose your concentration.
No, but he's like, focus on this.
Don't try to
no
distract
time
him.
trouble.
It's dangerous for the commentator too. So white is still sort of struggling. Just to talk about this variation here, I was about to have some fun with this one because white does have.
Trick me.
I was going to trick you because white has a forcing move here. Do you see how this is forcing? White is threatening to connect underneath. And usually this is still dangerous for white.
Tricky though.
It's tricky because white. It's not really working because white's weak here.
Oh, the cut.
Yeah, the cut here. And so it's not really working. It's still bad for white. But it's going to be more exciting. It's going to be a bit more exciting. So black would want to try to avoid giving this stone to white by doing something like that. And it could be turn into a semi-eye between that white group and the corner. But the problem is white doesn't really have very many liberties. So white would probably lose anyway.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's where I would be trying to swindle you out of the game.
You would never do that.
I don't know. I'm pretty competitive. But black can avoid all of that just by pulling back here. And
That's a very elegant move.
To the center. Yeah.
That's a really nice move. The peep is a wonderful move.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but the fact that he played this Atari, which would usually be a kind of a strange move, it sort of indicated that he had found that move.
But Yuan, this is his bread and butter. He's really good at this stuff.
Yeah.
He when I was studying with Yuan, we would have to do all these life and death problems, and you had to really you had to go and do them in front of the whole class. And I tell you, it just maybe you had to do that when you were in St. But it really. You really want to make sure you have thought about all, because you want to get up there and you've got the answer. And he's like, yes, but what about this? I didn't think of that. Now go sit down.
Oh, there you go. Sorry.
The stones are flying today.
Yeah, there's something
I
clumsy
think
about
we need heavier stones.
Heavier stones? Yeah, I guess so. They're too slippery. So this is the game. I don't see. And then there's the fact that maybe white can find something in the corner. So let's try.
Is there some? I don't.
No, there's
nothing in the corner.
Something like this maybe. And if black captures the two stones, then we are saved finally. This is a life for white. Black wouldn't do that. Black would just take this.
I'm gonna bet you lunch that Yuan Zhou is not gonna go for that.
And then if black takes here, then this is again dangerous because white can get a ko here. This would be a step ko, so it would be still bad for white because white would have a lot of trouble winning this ko, but it would be a one step. But actually black can just go straight down and white will not be able to extend the liberties. Black just comes from behind. So black wins that. So there's nothing that I can see that white can do with this corner. Although it is a kind of there's a slight fishy smell here, but it doesn't quite make it.
A fishy smell? We need to, this is getting a little bit in the way of the stream, so we can move over just a little bit. Oh, Nosferatu. How can he read so fast and talk at the same time? Yeah, we don't know. We're not all sure.
I'm just a professional Go player.
That's what multiple stones.
That's what we do with for a living.
Yeah. That's his job.
Yeah.
That's what he does. But he is a genius, yes.
I just talk a lot. It just comes out. And I'm not thinking about what I'm saying.
Well, the other thing, too, is that, you've been playing Go. We were talking about this when we were talking with the kids yesterday for 40 plus
40
years.
so years, yeah.
40 so, yeah, so you've seen so many positions, that.
Well, positions like this, they're, I don't really have to think about them.
Right.
They come automatically.
Yeah. It's just shaped. The other thing is you spent the last solid year analyzing AlphaGo games.
Yeah.
So, this is not a problem.
The only thing white has left to do.
Yeah. There you go.
But you see, white has eight liberties. Black has 2 inside, and then black is moving out here. This group, it's sort of interesting, but you see, this group here is as good as alive, because when black tries to escape here, now black has a second eye here when black plays here. So that's a problem that white will have in attacking this group. On this side, white's in danger. And after all of this has happened, black can probably afford to sacrifice most of that on the upper side.
Well, but doesn't need to.
I mean, black can afford to play a move around here. And it's not really dead, but black will be able to afford giving away, or even.
That's like
But if white doesn't do that kind of thing, then there's a lot of potential for black to make some eye space here.
Right.
And so it's going to be very difficult for white to handle that. And so you can see black's out. It's very soon. Black already has 2 liberties inside here. Mm-hmm. So very soon black will have enough liberties to just go after the white group.
Right.
Yeah.
So here's a question. When you're, for whatever reason, you've gotten into this situation, right?
Yes. Well, for one thing,
we got this, I think.
white has played too many moves close to the disaster. Like when something bad happens like this, and you've missed an Atari, a number of ways you can mess up in a local position. Usually the best thing to do is to play on the opposite side of the board. In this case, it would be white would start a fight here, attacking this black group, before making this so cemented in such a clear position. And then if black really became very cautious and was giving stuff to white, then white would try to reduce as much as possible. The earlier white quits this area, the better, because the more white has potential to play from the area that white is trying to build. And so you start with a fight that you can win, and if black really fights here, then maybe white's going to get some extra stones in this vicinity, which would completely change the story of what happens when white connects here. Mm-hmm. And the point is, once you've started this and increased the value by playing all of these moves from the inside, this kind of move is not going to be forcing anymore. Black's just going to add a stone to this side. And now black's completely safe. And I can't really see this black group dying unconditionally, mm-hmm. with the peep here and some potential to make eyes there. I think white really needs to be playing some peeping moves before going after it. And this is it's thickness now. Like if we have black even just jumping out, this corner looks a bit weak, and this side group is going to be weak next. And in actual play, black might play something a bit more severe actually. So there's a lot of trouble happening to white, and this potential territory is going to be mostly gone. So there's a lot of extra profit that black is getting because white started in the area that was in trouble. So the good strategy when you've made a local mistake is to just leave it for a while. And as you get into a fight elsewhere on the board, as I was saying, like if white attacks black there, maybe white's going to get some stones here that change the position. If you fight in the center of the board, it's always going to change the general position, and you might be able to find a chance to make a comeback.
What's the difference between fighting spirit and just being sort of stubborn and obstreperous?
Well, fighting spirit is actually, it's not a very accurate term, because it's really an excuse to ignore the threat sometimes, but it's not as if you're just being stubborn or being. It's not even really fighting spirit. It's more. It's just that it's necessary to ignore the threat sometimes and make a bigger threat, hopefully, because if you're just answering your opponent's threats, then your opponent will always have control of the game. And so it's very important to be able to ignore the threats and play elsewhere and find a better threat that will change what is happening with the threat that was made. And so that's what they call fighting spirit in Japan. But it's actually, I find it to be a slightly different thing. Yeah. It's just something that's necessary. And now you see this is, the geta is going to work.
I was just looking at it.
It's what they call a loose ladder.
Right.
Because black can just go straight down. And the only question that one has to answer, and black has one extra liberty here, which makes it possible. So this is working for black. Black just pushes it all the way down to the second line. The only question we have here is white can play here and maybe throw in here next. That would cause trouble, right? So black has to be able to answer this on this side. Is there anything in the corner? And my answer to that is it doesn't seem to be. It's still too much. Not enough damizumari, not quite enough. White would still try something like this, and maybe try a cut here, and it still doesn't work. White would try this one. Black extends. Still has too many liberties here, and can capture these two stones at least. White plays here. Black again. If black takes, there's going to be a ko there. White, black can extend. Just not enough speed from the other side. Black has just one or two too many liberties there. It's just not working. So there is that issue, but otherwise it looks like it's going to be okay for black. And so black can capture this cutting stone. But he played this way. This way works also. He was being, you might say he was being careful.
Why is that? I mean, oh, I see. Because of all this.
He didn't want
just to avoid all of that.
He wanted
entirely.
to avoid that.
Yeah. Okay, I get it. That makes sense.
AlphaGo would say that's the same result. And then black could probably just play another Kosumi here. Yeah. And already black has enough liberties to start filling white, because white actually lost some liberties the way white handled this thing. So white has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 liberties left. And black will, when in the process, black has taken this stone, so black has 1 liberty here, and already has about 4 on the outside. So pretty soon black will be able to just go after that white group. And you know, if white plays this one and black plays the hane here, white's going to even have less. If white is reacting to that this way, then white has even fewer. Now white has 5 liberties. Black can start going after this white group, and will win the fight against this one. Yeah. So it's a difficult game for white. White's going to try to find some way to squeeze, but it is a difficult game for white.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. Like if white can squeeze on the outside, and then, as you were suggesting a long time ago,
making territory here. But
here.
Again, white doesn't have any territory also.
But it's also that he's given up a ton of points over here.
That's a 60-point territory.
That's a 60-point territory. I mean, that's. I don't see white. Even. I mean, yeah.
Well, that's 60 points. We haven't counted this territory, not that. So black has something like 80 points.
80,
like wherever white makes territory, even if white captures most of this group, there's no way white's going to catch up to 80 points. It's pretty one-sided at this point.
Right.
So white's only natural move would be to jump here. I'm sort of expecting white to do that.
So actually. We can talk a little bit about the cool new project. We have a number of things. We'll talk about this later today that we're working on with Michael. In addition to the ongoing, they asked at the commentary last night about how long we're going to do the AlphaGo commentaries, and we're almost halfway through. There's 55 of those games.
Yeah, the video, the YouTube commentaries.
Yeah, and so Michael's still enjoying them, so we'll keep going.
I'll keep going.
Let's talk about some of the things that people don't know about that you're doing in Japan, because that's kind of cool.
Oh, okay, yeah.
It's really. So talk about the one that you just did with the Asahi.
Oh yes, the Asahi newspaper.
Which we have a link on our website on the first game of the Meijin.
The first game of the Meijin title match. That's the 43rd Meijin title.
Big deal. One of the big.
Sponsored by the Asahi newspaper. And they decided this year that they wanted an English commentary. So this is the first time. And it seems that it was kind of an experiment. So they don't really know if they're going to continue. And so everyone should go and look at that homepage. And there's a link in the journal.
There is.
And I advise you to use the link because
in fact,
otherwise
actually,
you might have trouble getting to the English part.
Joel, if you can check, it was a story. If you just look up probably Meijin on the US Go site, as a story within the last earlier this week actually, and there's a link.
Yeah, we can post it here too. Yeah, that would be good
to our folks here. But it's got some very wonderful videos.
Wonderful videos. Yeah.
If you want to see Michael with an umbrella, which you do.
Japanese fancy umbrella.
Fancy umbrella, walking around the gardens of the
Shinzan-so Hotel, and that's in the middle of Tokyo, and it's a great place to visit. They have this beautiful park with a lot of what they're calling sacred objects in it, and they're very nice to look at. They have a pagoda. That's a Japanese building. I mean, it's a Buddhist building.
It's kind of it's like 1,000 years old.
It's 1,000 years old. It was originally taken from the mountains in Hiroshima.
Nice.
So that's very far south of Tokyo. It's southern Japan. And so it's very picturesque and beautiful. And the hotel is a good hotel too. So it's worth going. Oh, so White's getting very angry here.
Yeah.
White just played this move. This is not reasonable, but well, White doesn't really have any good options anyway.
So that's just trying to kill
It's
Black.
trying to kill Black, but at this point, Black could go for the fight to capture by playing a Hane underneath, or White could go after the white stones in the center, actually. Or Black has a number of options. Black could just try to connect up to the black stone on the lower side, too.
And then it also, in addition, has short videos, you doing some commentary as well.
Yeah, so the homepage, if we get the link here eventually, the homepage will have text commentaries by me, and then in sections, like 5 or 6 videos, I think, are of me talking about the moves of the game. So I'm doing it in sections, like the first 40 moves, and then it would be 45 moves. That looks right. It looks like it's the right.
Go check it out. You're gonna love it. Seriously, it is
something like 40 moves in each video. I'm talking about very similar to this one, where I have a Go board and there's a camera taking my face at the same time. Yeah,
they're very nice, and I like them because they're short. You've really, this is one of the things that you do so well, is you're able to just really key in on the key moments. Break it down really simply. So I think they're, one's like a minute long, one's 5 minutes long.
Most of them are about 5 to 10 minutes long. And then there's some videos in the Japanese language. If you're really keen on the Go part, you can get videos of a Japanese commentator doing his commentary.
Oh, I thought you would talk about the chocolate. You got to talk about the chocolate.
Oh yeah, the chocolate. There's actually the sponsor is Asahi newspaper, but they also had some help from that's the Meiji chocolate company.
And is it one of your favorite chocolates?
It was the particular chocolate that they were advertising was one that I was having some of every day, and so it was very special for me.
I can't believe we don't have chocolate. We're gonna have chocolate for the We're gonna go get some chocolate.
And then they wanted to do a little commercial because they were a sponsor.
Of course.
And so they wanted me to help, and I said, yeah. So they had the Japanese one of the Japanese guys doing the commentary. They had him eat the 95% cacao chocolate.
It's too much for me.
And he said, "Is this really chocolate?" And he was making a face. And
Yeah.
so then I just popped them in. Oh, this is great stuff.
There's
And there's a
link on there,
video
too.
doing,
Yeah.
and it's in Japanese, so you
But you'll
just
still
have to,
get the point.
But I just explained it, so that's
Yeah.
what it's all about. And it's very staged, but we had a lot of fun doing it anyway.
Yeah.
And then so there's these fun videos. A lot of them are in Japanese, but they're not that hard to understand if you
No,
just
we have a
ignore the
couple.
fact that it's a different language. So black moved out here. It's pretty obvious what
Okay.
happened. So white has escaped. And look, really, if you look at this, ignore the fact that white is actually trying to make some confusion. The actual position is that black is attacking white.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Like-
it's bad for white. But when you're having a bad game, sometimes this is the only way that you can manage to turn it around.
So just to recap, one eye,
One eye,
0 eyes,
0 eyes,
and running group.
a running group.
And this is
Okay, well, for the time being, white's in danger here. Something like this would kill it,
okay, all right.
or like this.
Yeah, I was wondering what that.
We have white escape. This would kill that white group.
Okay.
Well, sort of. Maybe it could live. And white cannot cut here. Because black breaks through here. And that's really painful when you've spent a move here to make it bigger.
Right.
So white would peep and maybe play here. And this is something that looks like it could possibly
Actually
hold
nice looking.
together.
Yeah, I like that.
It could hold together. But you count the liberties. Black has 4 liberties. This one doesn't count.
Sure.
5, 6, 7.
Okay.
Now, that last part there was probably a bit hard to follow. So I'll just add some moves.
They like the umbrella. They like the umbrella.
They like to
told
umbrella.
you.
Good, yeah. And we'll say black answers this. And so it's like this. How many liberties does black? That's what we do with semi-ice. You count the liberties. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Wow,
I said
it's
7.
just what you
didn't
said.
I?
7. It's amazing.
How many does white have? 1, 2, 3, 4. Losing by 3 moves is pretty bad.
It's pretty
Yeah,
bad.
it's pretty hopeless.
It's like not even close.
That means you don't have any forcing moves here. That means black's going to live in the corner later. So there's no extra profit. And this group is close to dead. So it is very bad for white.
Joel's laughing. It's close to dead.
Close to dead. It's not 100% dead.
It's like a Monty Python scale. Not dead yet. Close to dead.
It's close to dead.
Close
So
to dead.
white has a lot of problems, but like one serious mistake by black could turn that around. So sometimes when it's bad,
legit.
when
That's
it's a losing position already, sometimes it's a good idea to get into more trouble and hope that your opponent will make some kind of mistake. Because
Well, I haven't checked. Hold on. On those lines, let me check and see if there's any. Let me ask.
you're thinking
you know
about the time.
Somebody else is doing. Let me ask for a time check. I think at this point, his only chance is if Yuan is down to like his last time period.
Well, this is. I was surprised by the mistakes that Yuan made in the last game, actually. But
But I kind of worried.
I really sort of doubt that even with 30 seconds, you should be able to avoid a losing mistake in this position.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. I totally agree.
I mean, I played here for black to win by 3 moves, right?
Right.
That means that black could play here and still win the semi. How many moves do you think black will win in this case? Maybe 1 move. Like if we have white playing here
'cause
and
you're
say
gonna
that
have
this position is going to hold, that's sort of doubtful. But we're going to assume that this position is going to hold. What I'm talking about is, for instance, this kind of stuff. It's probably actually a problem for white, this kind of thing. But we're going to assume that none of this is going to happen. And so we're going to say that this boundary here is going to hold for white. Then if we look at the semi just purely here, black's still going to win by one move. Just ignoring the potential danger for white.
Oh.
White has played a move here. White 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. White has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it's black's turn, so black's going to win by 1 move.
Wow.
That's just ignoring the potential danger here.
Right.
So black can actually play away and still win this. But we'll see how Yuan handles it. White really has very little choice but to play this move, because if white manages to live here and then black plays something like this, now white has trouble in the corner, trouble on the outside. And this is actually worse. It's like this would be very, very damaging. And jumping in the through 3-point would be a big problem for white too.
Oh yeah, I was wondering if you could, if it was slide or the 3-pin.
Both work. Like the 3-3-point is not going to kill white, because white can connect off to this side. But black lives. And that's a lot of territory. That's like a gain of about 20 points. So something like this would happen. So that would be big. But if white prevents that by playing this move, then this or even this one would cause a lot of trouble for white on the outside. And the idea of a semi here, it was bad. White was losing anyway.
Sure.
But the idea of a semi here is further and further away, because now black has something like five move advantage in any semi. So it's way off in the future. So in the game, white extended here. It's not getting any better for white, because now black can sort of connect here. White does have a cutting move here, but this is not going to be good. We'll take this stone off. It's not going to be good because black can then play here and then cut here. And white's in danger on that side too. Like if we have this kind of thing, it looks like white's going to lose that group in the center too.
Okay, I was just trying to read out the
if white
there's
plays
any funny business here like that.
Well, if black plays here, then there is some funny business.
Okay,
but if black plays here, then black gets to play an Atari here,
right,
and that's gonna change it a little bit. Black can connect here, and it's gonna be very difficult for white to wriggle out of that. Or black can save the Atari next, I guess. Cutting here would be the losing mistake. That would, well, it might not lose the game even, but this would be a ladder. It just goes straight through here. Let's just show that one. You'll be wishing you played a large knights move instead. But that's bad. It just goes through. So, but black can probably capture white with something like that. It doesn't look like white's escaping.
Let's jump into the room for a second. Let's see what the players are up to.
Okay, they're playing the same sequence. Not much motion here. Yeah, well, a Go game is like that. They're just focused on the game.
No, it's funny. I take pictures, for the Ejournal of Go players, and some players like Yuan. I mean, you can take a picture, come by half an hour later, and take the same exact picture.
Yes.
It just doesn't move. There's now.
Okay, so white saw that and connected. But things are not getting better for white. Like the semi is still, now black's going to win by something like 3 or 4 moves at least.
I'm impressed though. I mean, he's gotten a lot farther.
No, he's not giving up.
Yeah.
And it's legitimate to continue playing. Yeah. In fact, black is just about alive here, so I think he might have resigned though. Maybe not.
No, John's got has like a looking or thinking.
He's in his thinking pose.
Right. Got his.
White peeped.
All right.
Oh no, yeah. Black connected, yes.
Really? Why not just Tanuki and play? Is there some?
Oh, connecting here is good. It's a big move.
No, but I'm saying for responding to the peep.
And then white played here.
But I played there
White,
first.
White did not peep. That was me.
Did not peep. Oh, okay, all right.
I got confused there.
Okay, I wanted Tanuki.
I wanted to peep. And now, so this is an opportunity for Black to finish this off on the upper side. But Black didn't. Well, he's being careful now, I guess. But Black has a huge advantage in this semi.
Yeah, this just lives, right?
It just lives now. So Black doesn't have to do that. Oh, White resigned.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, White was just too adventurous there in the upper left.
Yeah.
And a bit too stubborn. A bit too stubborn.
A bit too attached. A bit too attached to that.
Mm-hmm.
I think you showed very well that there were a number of ways to kind of play more lightly and come out with a playable position.
Well, it was getting gradually worse after Black extended here in the center. So it wasn't good for White, but there are ways to play that bad games too. Like you have to try to. If White had fought in the center first, then that could have changed the circumstances.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, Joel, if we could bring up the credits there. Actually, let's switch back. Let's switch back to the main screen for us. There we go. And then we've got some credits. I could probably do most of them from memory, but I'm not going to rely on that at this point. Cool. All right. So that was round 2. Big thanks, of course, to Michael. That was terrific. Thank you. Bringing us lots of light and entertainment. Thanks, of course, everybody for watching. We will be back with round 3 shortly. I'm not going to say exactly what time, unless do you actually know? Oh,
I think we get a lunch break this time. Yeah,
I sure hope so. 2:30 we'll be back with round 3, and I assume we'll be doing 3 and 4 back to back as well. Thanks, of course, to our entire production team, and that's Joe Cahalan, who's at the controls now, Jeff Fitzgerald, Nathan Epstein, our recording team, Keith Arnold, Gary Smith was just on the board this last round, and I think Gurujeet is probably up next, Gurujeet Khalsa. And then on graphics, thanks to Stephen Hu, all the way from Germany, doing it, helping us there. Nate Eagle, our own Nate Eagle here in DC. And again, thank you, Michael. And thanks everybody for watching. We'll be back at 2:30. Spread the word. See you soon.